I think the first thing is acknowledging, and I sense communities are better. 6 months ago it was a little tough to convince folks of this, but acknowledge that defense cuts are here to stay and prepare. You know, for a while there we were like, well, it may be fine, we'll get a grand deal and everything's going to be good. I think you have to sort of set a new normal and say, we are in a downsizing era, and start thinking about how you're going to be proactive, but also think about if things do happen, how do you respond? And it is a tough thing for a community to talk about, but you know, there will be closures in the future, there will be realignments, and the best thing you can do as community leaders is to always have that plan B in hand, that if things do happen, how are you going to respond to that? Because it's a tough process for communities to go through. But having worked with over 100 communities who have gone through the base closure, I'll tell you there is life after base closure or even realignment, and that communities find ways to thrive and survive after that. This isn't about giving up and saying, oh, it's going to happen, but it is your duty as a community leader to always be thinking about what could happen and how you would respond. The second issue is that we collectively, you as a community, communities across the country and us at the national level, really have to start making the case for our defense infrastructure. We are the first people to get cut whenever the budget starts coming down. And when we start disinvesting in our bases and our infrastructure, that has a long-term impact on our national security. When you stop paving runways or maintaining runways, anyone who's been involved with that knows in a year or two that runway is not going to work. So and the same thing as buildings and other facilities. There's a lot of loud voices in the sort of defense lobbying world, and those companies who promote big weapon systems or the folks who want us to build even more ships, they're very loud, but our voice on saying we need to protect our infrastructure, it hasn't been as loud, and we really need to work collaboratively at the community, state, national level to promote that. Number 3 is you need to make reducing the cost of operating your installation number 1 priority. As I said at the beginning, this is all about budget, budget, budget. I don't think DoD does anything right now at the higher levels other than talk about budget. So that is going to be their biggest issue right now, and that's what they're going to be looking at, and that is something you can play a role in doing. So there's a lot of important things communities can be doing, but you have to be looking at how can you help reduce the cost of operating that installation. Number 4, and I mentioned this, is just be aware of what we call BRAC without BRAC. It's not something that's going to be announced at a press conference. It's little decisions. Sometimes it's 2 or 3 people starting to move from one place to another. Sometimes it's something bigger. But you have to have your ears to the ground on what's happening and understand that this could be a slow tidal wave where you feel you don't know what's happening, then suddenly it hits you and you realize that you've lost a lot of jobs, or you're going to have a long-term impact. So be aware of that, and I think also being aware that there's going to have to be some discussion of infrastructure at some point. I don't think anyone, even those our elected officials in Congress, they realize at some point if you reduce the size of the Army, you reduce the size of the Air Force and others, you have to start taking a look at the infrastructure around the country. And finally, you have to stay informed. This is not going to be a simple process, and this is probably one of the most dynamic periods for defense communities in the past 3 decades. So it's your duty and responsibility to stay in touch with what's happening, and I think this organization can be a great way for everyone to understand the impacts and the issues ahead. And as someone mentioned today, we offer some resources I want to plug. One is Defense Communities 360, which is a daily publication that comes out of our office in Washington. This is a great way to keep in touch with what's happening around the country. I have an editor who's been writing this for 12 years now, whose job is basically to take all the news that happens and distill it into a pretty simple summary of the issues that might be important to you as communities. So you can go onto our website at defensecommunities.org and you can sign up for that for free. We also offer a lot of different training opportunities. The new event that we launched last year we call Installation Innovation, and the idea is to bring together the military, the communities, and the private sector to figure out what are the innovative solutions for promoting cost effectiveness, efficiency, and innovation. We host that conference in San Antonio because that's where a lot of folks are right now in the installation world. And since no one could travel, we go to them. But that is a great opportunity, and we look forward to having folks from this community join us at that event. My contact information's here. We have a great staff in DC. We're a small but mighty group, and we're happy to answer questions and share information. And please feel free to reach out to me. I think just the connections we made here, I think will lead to a great collaboration with this group and this community. And I look forward to seeing many of you over the next couple of years as part of ADC, either in Washington or some of their other events. So thank you for this opportunity. It's been great meeting many of you and learning more about the organization. And I wish you best of luck. I can't be here all day, but I look forward to touching base with many of you in the future. Thank you.